Hi everyone, it's time to show you what I have colored in June, and I must say that June was the month when I spent the smallest amount of hours coloring comparing to all previous months. Part of the time I simply didn't feel well enough, so I simply wasn't able to color. Part of the month I simply felt probably a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit lazy to color. Sometimes I feel that I really need to fulfill my obligations and to post videos, but then I decided that I let myself to rest a little bit, to relax, to stay away from social medias for some time. And that's why in the end of the month I can say that I'm quite happy both with my coloring processes and with amount and quality of finished pictures. So let's start. I did this globe in Manuel de Bonheur. As usual, I used Prismacolors because you know how much I love how Prismacolors behave on this paper in Japanese edition. Most of all, here I enjoyed coloring birds. I love also to color flowers, those cherry flowers and mountain. And the most challenging part was actually to decide how to color Earth. I'm not very good at geography, so I decided that I won't be trying to create a very realistic picture. So probably my Earth isn't 100% precise, but I am happy with color combo here. I masked outlines of the clouds using white gouache, and it really helped to soften the whole composition. And most of all here, I am proud of my green bird. If you look at the base of the globe, you can see it. I really wanted to find some authentic Japanese bird for my picture, and I found uguisu, or Japanese nightingale, which in Japanese poetry is a symbol of love, and it sings especially beautiful during the blooming time of cherry trees, so it suits the idea of this picture perfectly. Apart from the plane, I am quite happy how I finished this globe picture. Also in June, I decided that I need to switch between my mediums more frequently, and I did two pictures using Inktense. I was a little bit afraid when I felt that my Inktense skills are a little bit rusted and I need to practice more. So that's why I decided to do a couple of pictures from Teleho, but I combined Inktense with other mediums and I really love effect which I got here. Inktense helped me to create brighter areas like uh, steam around the teapot or lid of the teapot, and Prismacolor colors, especially light pastel colors like great lavender, helped me to create color of the china of the teapot. I couldn't imagine how I would color teapot without using Prismacolors, only with Inktense. I also added something from myself. On the green leaves on the teapot, I added roses because for me they are like symbol of England, and I also added tiny ivory flowers as a symbol of jasmine because I really love jasmine tea. I also added a little bit of neo colors around the stem of the background, and even if paper in this book is quite thin, so you can see that it's a little bit wrinkled, but I'm happy with the effect which it helped me to create, so I'm quite happy with my teapot. Second picture is even more simple. Here we have Hampton Court Palace, and I decided that the building I will be coloring in a realistic way And the garden around, I want to do more in fantasy way. I really was tired of all green traditional leaves, traditional trees, so I decided that probably here we have trees during famous uh, parties of King Henry VIII, so my flowers look quite festive. I also tried to mix intense colors in order to remember interesting color combos. For example, for the outer wreath of leaves, I combined a little bit of gray, a little bit of violet, a little bit of blue and green, and I am very happy that I really started to remember again how to work with Inktense, but I especially love effect when I combine Inktense with Prismacolors or with Neocolors for the background. In June, I also decided to color a little bit with watercolors, or at least to do a watercolor underpaint in Sweet Chopin book, and then, just like I usually do in this book, I worked on the contrasts and on the details using Kohinoor Mondeluz watercolor pencils, sometimes polychromases, sometimes Prismacolors, and I am very grateful to everyone who commented under this video and explained me about those traditional English sweets. It was very interesting to know. I colored these sweets like marshmallows and like chocolate cookies, but for the future I will remember about these licorice candies. Anyway, I am glad that I finished another project from this book. Step by step, I am slowly go to the finish of this book, but I don't think that it will be quite quickly because all the remaining pictures they are a little bit difficult to decide which colors to use or simply what we have on the page, but I am still sure that I will be doing many and many more projects from this book. This book really helped me to stop being afraid of uh, too much dark colors. It already have a lot of dark areas on the original painting, and I am not afraid here to use strong contrasts, but it also helped me to learn how to color various metal elements. In the middle of May, during Mermaid, I started page with Mermaid from Myth and Magic coloring book. And in the beginning, I was afraid that I have completely ruined my idea. I knew that I wanted to create here golden mermaid, but when I started to do various underwater seaweeds, I started also to use a lot of yellow colors, or green root or ginger root colors, and I was afraid that those yellow colors they will distract attention from the mermaid. So I put it away for almost a month, but in the beginning of June I decided that I found some courage to finish this page. And now I am totally happy how it looks. My favorite part of this picture is upper part. I love how I added a little bit of pearlescent watercolor to the sky. I love how I created reflections of light into the water, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of green, a little bit of lavender. I love how I created a light halo around stars in the arms of the mermaid. And after I outlined the tail of the mermaid using ivory and a white Posca, she really became the focal point of the whole picture. And I think that she isn't lost among many colorful creatures and plants around her. So I am very happy with this picture. And I am also happy that I started actually to color in this book because it laid abandoned for almost 2 years. After I finished this one, I was so happy that I decided that I immediately need to start another project from the same book. When I colored all the underwater plants and seaweeds, I really tried to balance between making some of them light and some of them dark. I really love those which have some pastel colors, like this creature near the tail of the mermaid, which has some violet and blue colors and a lot of white. So it was nice practice in color mixing and in color composition. My next selected picture was Beauty and the Beast. Probably I have selected it because I love composition of the page, the idea of two rose bushes, but the look of two main heroes was a little bit doubtful for me. Here the beauty is strangely standing or even hanging from the rose bush, and I'm also not a huge fan of the coat and tail of the beast. But I really love this idea of touching hands and touching rose bushes. I decided to color them in white and red. This picture reminded me a little bit about famous war of white and red roses in England. Also here I am glad that I decided to do a fantasy color of the sky behind. For me it looks very suitable for the fairy tale. And I love this color combo of lavender, lilac and yellow on the dress of the beauty. So this picture has some nice moments, some not very successful moments, but as I said, for me more important was that I started to color again in this book because I did only one project here and it was abandoned for a long time. But now I really enjoy paper here. My favorite medium here is polychromos pencils. It's easy to color with slightly harder pencils because all pictures are very detailed. I love tools of paper and I really love art of Kinuka craft, so I definitely will be doing more from this book. I think that you already know that to color pictures, to do illustrations to the fairy tales is one of my favorite subjects to color. So apart from this picture from Beauty and the Beast, of course, I tried to color something in the fairy tale book by Selina Fenech. And as usual, I bitched about quality of paper, but I continued to color because pictures are so beautiful. In June, I did two pictures here. The first one was Snow White and Rose Red. I did this picture as a tutorial to explain how I calculate highlights from the source of the light, how I create shadow and light parts for the objects which are closer to the light source and far from the light source. I hope that I managed to show it and to explain my thought process. I think that I hadn't worked enough on the fur of the bear. I really want to cover its back with another layer of pencils. On the original art there were strange stains along his back, and I don't think that bear has to have any spots on the fur. So I think that I need to cover it with another layer of brown. But apart from it, I'm quite happy with everything here. With the composition, with play of light and shadow, with girls' dresses. I think that another reason why I love to color in Selina Fenech's books, because I love to color beautiful dresses. Here, all those folds of the fabric, all those fringes and various uh, laces. And I also love faces and hair of her girls. This picture I did with Prismacolors only, and on the next page I mixed Prismacolors and polychromases. When it's hot around, it became extremely difficult to color on this paper with Prismacolors, but still I wanted to use some unique colors like celadon green or deco yellow or blue violet lake for some areas on this picture. I didn't want to do traditional white or beige uh, bed sheets, so I decided to color everything in more fantasy way. I'm quite happy with the color palette, but I must say that to color all those mattresses and bed sheets was a little bit boring. I hope that the P isn't lost among all those bed sheets. After I switched to polychromases, I really enjoyed coloring the dress of the princess. My girl looks a little bit pissed, not in a very good mood, but it was fun to color. After several failed attempts to get the new book by Kerberos, in June I finally received mine from Amazon. And of course I immediately started to do page. I selected page which I liked but which wasn't my favorite. I really wanted to test tools of the paper and I decided to do the whole page using polychromos pencils. I think that for polychromos, tools of the paper in this edition is absolutely perfect. I really love how they mixed. The whole background is made with polychromoses. You know that I'm not a huge fan of doing pencil background, but here I enjoyed working with them. From the beginning I have this very easy idea of creating contrast between warm colors around the magical lantern and cold colors inside, but still it was very time consuming to color all the golden elements on the lantern, on various jars and vases. I really tried to limit amount of colors used on this page, especially for all the things which are around the lantern. And inside the lantern I decided to create something like northern light above the heads of the penguins, and I really tried not to lose two seals. In the end, I'm very happy with this project. I haven't tested yet this paper how it would behave with water-based mediums. I know that some people said that it's not very good for watercolors, but for me, I will be perfectly happy to color the whole book with pencils and even with polychromoses. Also, I really enjoyed how they blended on this paper. I believe that this book for now is the best one from Kerberos, and I am very pleased that I finally got it, and I definitely will be doing more projects from it. I enjoyed coloring in Kerberos' book, but this project definitely was challenging. And projects in next books by Teresa Goodrich, for me are always quite easy to do. And in June I finished 3 pages here. Let's start from spring scenes, but I would say that picture which I selected definitely can be from June or even from July. So here we have very pleasant scene, very nice weather and a lot of yummy things to color. I really enjoyed doing all those textures, to color this picnic basket, to color bread, grape, apples, and most of all, I enjoyed coloring wine bottle and glasses. I hope that it look realistic. But I realized that I completely failed in coloring watermelon. It looks awful. I definitely need to more to practice more how to color his watermelon. But apart from this, with all other elements here, I am quite happy. I am glad that I used blue color as a focal point to show this napkin and inner part of the basket. It really helped to attract attention to this part and to all various things which we have around the basket. I tried to use various green colors for the trees, for the hills which are far from us, and for the patches of grass which are around the picnic area, but I am not sure that it's so visible on the finished project. In Country Charm, I managed to do two pictures, one in the very beginning of the month and second I finished only yesterday. Let's start from this romantic evening. I don't remember when the last time I did some evening picture, so I thought that this can be a nice picture to practice. Here I really tried to show that we have two sources of light. One is from candle and the other one from the light inside the house, and to show all light reflections and all appropriate shadows around all the various objects and various flower pots. Again, it was time consuming, but I enjoy coloring in Teresa Goodrich book, and for me they are always quite easy to do. Everything is colored with Prismacolors. I think that I only used a couple of polychromos pencils because I really love to use them if I need to shade green colors. I struggled a little bit with flowers. For me they are too big relatively to the other elements on this page, and because of this they look a little bit cartoonish or childish, but after I used a lot of ivory and white Poscam, I think that they started to look better. And my final project for June was this summer picture. I think that it's summer noon, we have very sunny weather. I decided to do this faded blue color of the fence in order to attract all the attention to the flower composition on the table. And you know that I have a soft spot for coloring watering cans, so of course when I saw watering can here, I definitely needed to color this page. I also love to color hens and roosters, even if here they are a little bit too small for my taste, especially when I compare size of the teapot and size of the hen. But anyway, I really enjoy doing pages in Teresa Goodrich, and for me they are indeed anti-stress, they are relaxing and always very pleasant to do. Not very quick because everything is detailed and I really try to think hard about shadows, but still I am quite happy with 3 finished pictures in Teresa Goodrich books. In the beginning of June I had huge plans, but I totally failed to color at least in one of the books which I put into my June plans. But instead of it, I totally unexpectedly decided to color this summer project by Rita Berman, and I really hoped that by doing these small pictures I will somehow resolve my problem with coloring in real Rita Berman books. For now I own only her autumn book, but I hadn't even started yet at least one page. I was too afraid, especially when I looked at beautiful finished pictures in Rita Instagram profile. But I enjoy doing these small pictures, so I hope that I will color something also in her bigger books. If you're interested how my cross-stitch project goes, here is my progress. I hadn't stitched a lot during June, but at least I managed to go to the left bottom corner and I am quite happy. I moved my stitching frame a little bit so I was able to reach this left bottom corner, and currently I'm working on the stones on the pavement here. And when I was stitching, I realized that actually stitching can be very helpful in coloring. For example, here I have very interesting examples of texture. You can see various color combos to represent stones. Stones on the building, stones on the street, stones around the tables on the cafe. Also, I can clearly see how designer used light and shadow colors on the bushes, on the flowers around the building, and light and dark shadows of the same color to represent highlighted and shadow parts of the building. Anyway, I am still really enjoy this process. It's time consuming, it's slow, but I think that in couple of days I will be moving into second part of this picture. I still need to finish backstitch on some of the elements, and after that my picture will be looking much more precise and much more detailed. But I hope that in July I also will be doing a nice project, even if traditionally in July I start to prepare my Christmas project. I love to start in July Christmas stockings, and I think that I will follow this tradition this year. Final thing which I wanted to mention in this June video, it's about my purchases. I added to my collection Kirby Rosanna's book, and I really love to touch cover of the book. I also purchased book by Jade Summer, it's Art Nouveau, and in a couple of days I will do a flip through on my channel. I purchased Mermaids by Jasmine Beckett Griffiths. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it in time for the mermaid, but of course I will be coloring it anyway. And I got two relatively new books by Teresa Goodrich. I already made flip through for both of these books, and both of them are absolutely gorgeous. I definitely will try to color at least in one of them in July. And finally, I got myself coloring book for children, but it's by Martin Noble, and I really love designs. I'm not a huge fan of paper, but it's not such a problem comparing to the beauty of designs. As for art supplies, I purchased myself a couple of Ecoline products. It's liquid watercolor and water-based markers, everything which I plan to use for masking black lines and also for doing backgrounds in books with thin paper. And also I was able finally to purchase some Stabila fine liners because I really love to use them if I need to create texture of fur. Also I purchased a couple of pastel colors by Koi water-based markers, again for masking black lines. I also purchased three colors of pastel matte acrylic paints, again for creating simple backgrounds. Huge thanks to everyone who watched my videos in June, who left me wonderful comments. As usual, huge thanks to all my patrons and to everyone who supported my channel via affiliate links. I hope to see you very soon in July. Have wonderful summertime!